Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Spiker Christensen. Well, there's not much to see. We're inside a Chinese dragon. And we've got Jordan Christensen on the podcast.
I'm not repeating myself. Oh gosh, I'm repeating myself.
And we've got Cameron Mickle on the podcast.
What is that? It's a bath, Eunice. I was going to take a bath. That's when you take bubble baths. It came out of the faucet that way.
What is that? I heard a woman's voice. It's a war show, Eunice. Yes, they're going to war. I'm coming in! And we have a special guest, Grant Mickle. What's up?
Who is that dangerously unbalanced woman?
I'm telling you, Bannister, you're a lucky man. Say it. You're a lucky dog.
She is a gem.
I'm a lucky dog. she is a gem.
I can't believe none of us did the quote. Onchi. I guess we're gonna get into that.
Dude, okay, so my wife speaks Croatian, and she affirmed for the third time watching this. I ask her every time, like, what is he saying? He's like, that is no Croatian that she understands.
I even heard him. He started speaking "quote unquote" Croatian in the water. He's like, "Oh, it's so good."
It's probably as much Croatian as like Team America, Trey and Matt Stone and Trey Parker going like, "Bonjour, bonsoir,
Durka."
My second favorite quote is when she's like, "Has anyone ever told you you're handsome?" Actually, no, and they never will.
Would you like a sandwich to nickels?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I find it very hard to swallow. How would you like to swallow a sandwich to knuckles?
Good. Oh man, this is so funny. Guys, go to the IMDb. I'm literally watching. So
the director,
Bogdanovich, the director, is like sitting on the piano like Barbra Streisand does in the movie. It's hilarious. Just look at the IMDb. It's hilarious. He's like directing Barbra Streisand what to do. Anyway, it's just really funny. Guys, today we're doing What's Up, Doc. This movie came out in 1972. It's so weird. It doesn't feel like a 70s movie, does it? I guess it kind of does. Feels a little more timeless though.
Yeah.
You know?
It's so well written. This is on Coen Brothers level characters. Like, just.
Yeah, there's some wacky characters in this movie, that's for sure. Like the hotel manager, what's his deal, dude? When would the staff have a message for you?
No,
what is it? Goodbye. Short message. Is that all? We need you to check out. How soon? Yesterday. That soon. Oh my gosh.
I love he's like, can I his bag? And then he's like, these are my igneous tambula rocks. And he's like, yes, of course they are.
Of course they are.
I love he's like, where do you plan on going after this? I was thinking of waiting in the lobby.
He's like, get all over the
that was amazing. He was great. Absolutely.
Was so good.
And this is the Hotel Crystal. Well, then one of us is in the wrong hotel.
Not the Bristol, madam.
Not the Bristol.
He was so good. Oh my gosh.
Mr. Fritz.
Yeah.
Friedrich. Fritz, madam.
It's
Hans. He's like,
Hans.
Pete. He's like, where did Hans go? He's like, it's only me, Fritz. He's like, that's a shame.
What a shame.
When he's talking to his friend,
Chom.
He's like, don't go noticed. And then he's like, Roger, and he's like, Fritz.
It's so stupid, doesn't get copy or whatever. Yeah, copy. Roger, Fritz. No, that's good writing.
Well, that's an airplane joke too. And he's like, and don't call me Shirley.
Yeah, exactly. That's the joke. That's so funny, dude. Oh man. And freaking, I gotta say, one of my favorite is the judge. I think he's one of my favorites. He's just like, silence! I will have order in my court, or I'll lock up every last one of you. And then he's like, you made me smash my lifesavers. Oh, it's so funny, dude.
You see this yellow pill? Yes, Judge. You know what it's for? No, Judge. It's to remind me to take this blue pill. What's the blue one for, Judge? I don't know. They're too afraid to tell me.
Or even when the officer's like explaining it to him, and he's like, "We picked most of them out of the San Francisco Bay. Entering the country illegally. No, sir, they drove into the country, into the bay.
Into the bay.
That's better unauthorized use of public water. Mostly in stolen cars. That's grand larceny."
Oh my gosh, and my favorite line of this entire movie. Then he keeps going, and she's like, "They tried to remove her forcibly." He's like, "That's kidnapping. They tried to molest me." That's unbelievable. Just looks at Bernsey, Eunice, or the one that's not my wife is Bernsey was there, and my fiance, who isn't my fiance, was there at the drugstore. Wait, who was there at the drugstore? Well, my fiance, who's not really my fiance.
I think I want to skip this part.
Is that clear?
But please continue.
But it's consistent.
It's consistent.
Should I start over from the beginning? No, I beg you, please. Oh gosh, it's so good. Yeah, and then another like subtle thing is when he approaches the stand and it catches his cloak and he just tears it. I don't know why I find that so.
It's such a Three Stooges thing, because there's a few like really Three Stooges moments when the guy gets hit in the face with a pie like twice.
Yeah, straight up out of a sketch in the Three Stooges. Yes, and like even like the whole fight scene with the gun. Like this is like supposedly men that are like armed and ready to kill people, but like it's super buffoonery. Like I mean, even the old housemaid that can't see anything, like just thick Coke bottle glasses, fires the gun up in the house. Like, what the fuck is going on?
And I love too, the butler just like opens the door and then he closes and he stands there
walks
calmly.
Out there, sees everyone fighting, turns around. Oh my gosh, yes. Childs, what kind of wine are you serving at table one? It's like under the table. Oh, it's great. Guys, this movie, I can't believe we're finally reviewing it. This is a movie we grew up on. What was it like watching it for the first time, rewatching it for this podcast? I just rewatched it Sunday night. I absolutely love this movie. I think it gets better on rewatch.
Yes.
It ages really fun. This is just like such a funny, it's such a clever idea. 4 identical suitcases, all containing the most opposite, top
Grant,
secret files.
Grant, you just watched Oscar. Did it remind you of Oscar?
Dirty underwear and
igneous
rocks. What was that? Sorry.
I said this. Grant just watched Oscar. I was just asking if it reminded him of Oscar.
Yes. Yeah, it does have a feel of Oscar. It's just like a lot of misunderstanding, wordplay.
Well, all the suitcases too get mixed up.
Yes. Oh, that's right. Yes, and the movie that literally happens in Oscar.
Underwear.
Or the Finucci. Yeah, they think the Finucci's are like they're just tailors. But
he even dumps one of the briefcases out, and then what's the Tim Curry like? Oh yes, this is nice money, and he's holding up underwear. Just reminded me of secret government underwear. Don't let him touch my rocks. Stop this man.
I hope my igneous rocks aren't damaged. I know how you feel. I hate it when my igneous rocks are even touched.
You're touched.
Oh my gosh. Your bell, it's flat.
Dude, I love it. He gets it to hear it afterwards.
Dude,
his facial expressions.
I know that Ryan O'Neal, I don't know if he had like a drunk problem or an abusive problem or something, but that's why he disappeared, which is unfortunate. That being said,
the main guy?
Yeah, the nerd.
Howard.
Ryan O'Neal, the actor, Howard Bannister.
I thought it was because he made a movie with Stanley
Barbra
Kubrick
Streisand?
and it wasn't popular.
Wait, are you talking about Barry Lyndon? It's a pretty popular movie.
No, now it is, but when it first came out, it was not.
No.
I thought it.
I'm pretty sure it has something to do with drinking, but I didn't even care to do the research. But either way,
he was a former boxer, so I wouldn't be surprised if the abuse.
Dang.
He was an amateur boxer before beginning his acting career.
Yeah, there you go. I absolutely love this movie. He plays such a stiff. I think is one of the funniest characters. I'd love to see more. It's like a 70s stiff. I don't know, or simp, I guess. He's got like Eunice Burns commanding him, telling him where to go. It's like you're not going to walk up to him and say, "Hey, I'm Howard." He's like anyone could say that.
I love
anyone named Howard.
I love the way he says it. He's like, what is it? He's like, what exactly are you going to tell Mr. Larrabee? Hello, my name is Howard. No, you are not. I'm not Howard.
Howard.
He's like, anyone can say that. Anyone named Howard.
Howard. Mr. Larrabee, or it's a
Larrabee to meet you.
No, it's a privilege to meet you. Likewise. That weirdo toad guy that comes out of the hall, dude. Charm, he attacks the lady with the freaking
charm. Use my charm.
Like the leg. That's his charm. He like kicks her, then she like bites his leg. He's like, ah! The firemen running into the apartment and they just chop down someone's door.
Wrong
like,
door.
He's like, wait, down here.
They're just like hacking at the door. It's freaking The Shining, dude. He's just like chopping a door down, and they're like, fires that. They're like tripping over each other. It's like everyone is the Three Stooges in this movie, dude. Everyone's so upset, like absurd, running into each other, bumping into each other. The whole third. It's funny because I was thinking of this movie in 3 acts. Like, as a kid watching this, I do feel like I can't say a remake would be necessary, but I almost feel like there's something with the second act that slows down too much. I love the whole build up all the way to the destruction of the apartment scene. And I love the hotel scene. But after he leaves and then he hooks up with Judy's character, like in the hotel, and they're like dancing on the piano or whatever, and they make out, and then I guess he's no longer interested in Eunice anymore. And then this the guy that's working on the floor, he comes up, he's like the contractor, and he like sees him, he drops a cigarette into his cement mix or whatever, his plaster. Like, I don't know. The movie always seemed to like slow down too much. I don't know. That's like my only nitpick.
I feel like it's a very random scene.
Yeah, it is kind of random, right? Like,
like,
what does Judy like about Howard? Does she like that she can manipulate him? Does she like that maybe he is so tortured that he's like secluded in himself? Like, what does she see in him?
I think she just likes to like
the way Bugs Bunny likes Elmer Fudd, like just likes to manipulate him and goof off.
Yeah, because she sees him too much as like in his little box life, and that I just think she creates chaos, and so she just like blows.
Do you not know the meaning of the word propriety?
Propriety, no.
No, yeah. So she etiquette, yeah, whatever.
On her long rant, yeah, she's really good at those. Like
smart. She knows her rocks. She knows a little bit about everything.
She kind of reminds me of Will from Good Will Hunting. Just like knows, just knows how to use the words to make other people
wicked smart. Although, like, she does nearly die many times. Like, she's very clumsy when it comes to traffic. Like, cars and bikes are, swerving to miss her. Yeah. So she has like near brushes with death, but she doesn't seem concerned with them. Like, bad luck follows her everywhere she goes. Like, is she Satan? Are we not convinced that Barbra? That's my hot take for this movie.
That's the takeaway of this whole movie.
Oh my gosh.
And now, given what we know about Barbra Streisand nowadays, hindsight, is she evil incarnate? Guys, what's it like watching this movie again? Grant, what about you, man?
I mean, growing up on this movie and then rewatching it, I just realized how much the humor still like stands today.
Did you watch
it's
it
just so funny? No. Well, I watched it with her like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And then rewatched it today. And it still stands today. It's just so funny. Such an enjoyable watch.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of that guy driving his own car. He's like, I'm with the government, follow that guy. Okay. And he's like, wait. And then he's like, drives right to the dock. Like, the canopy, like, catches his neck. He's like,
that was an amazing stunt. And then he goes flying off the car.
Just fly off, yeah.
That is top 10 stunt of all time, man.
Another great comedic moment though at the beginning too, where he's like pretending to tail the guy who has the top secret government.
Taking out golf clubs.
He's got this club. He's got a whole bag of clubs and he's just chucking golf clubs out of his. Because he's like in San Francisco, so the streets are like straight up. There's like a stairs that goes up for a whole block, and he's just like, oh. He's sweating and he just starts throwing him into the shrubbery, throwing him into the trash bin. It is so funny. Like, that is so funny.
Yeah.
Gosh, that was
It's
great.
so funny too how there's like completely random scenes, like when the Chinese dragon goes down and drags a bunch of garbage with it. It like shows the scene of garbage going after this guy, and then like
this guy like
panics, back plants onto a table.
That looked like one of the most painful stunts in the movie.
He dives over the table and just
feel it.
I'm trying to remember. They did something like that. Have you guys seen The Nice Guys?
Yeah.
When they threw the body.
Yeah, yes. Cameron knows what I'm talking about. Grant, have you seen The Nice Guys? There's the funniest scene where Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe, they take this cadaver and they throw him over a fence, and it's in like a crowded dinner party. And this cadaver just slaps
because they're like
slaps on the table.
It's because the guy was murdered at a party, and so they're like trying to hide the body, and they're like,
and they just threw it like in the middle of a part. It was so it just slaps the table, and it was just like that moment where like this quiet garden party, like some guy leaps over the fence, comes out of nowhere, and just breaks his back on the. Oh, I know.
They better have gotten that on first take, man, because there's no second take.
Right. And it's so great too, because that was a great, like, it's just a side, like you're walking down the street, all these garbage bins are like, what the heck was happening? You didn't see anything. You just freak out. Oh, it's so great. And like, Jordan, what was it like watching it again for the first time after all this time?
Again for the first time.
Oh, I mean, like, yeah.
I know what you're saying. Then, I don't think any of us remembers the first time. I mean, we've watched it so many times growing up, but it's amazing that this seriously, I feel like, can hit all ages, because the jokes now that I enjoy, I did not understand as a kid. Like a lot of the funny dialogue and banter, they talk so fast. As a kid, I couldn't really follow half of what they were saying. But especially Barbra Streisand, like she just talks so fast. I'm like, she's like 20,000 words a minute, and that's so. But I just love this film. I enjoyed it so much on this rewatch. I watched it twice before the podcast because this movie's amazing. It's so good. It's a classic, and everyone needs to see it.
Right. Strong thesis. Cameron, how about you, man?
Yeah. It's a movie kind of like Jordan mentioned. I'm surprised how much I like it the more I watch it. It's kind of for me, it kind of reminds me very similar to Three Amigos, where like a lot of I just laughed at a lot of the physical gags. Like as a young kid, and then growing up and like starting to understand a lot of the things too. And just like you guys mentioned, the writing and just like they use physical humor so well, and it's just impressive how like a movie just holds up this well. It's insane, and like the characters are amazing.
Where are our modern day comedies like this? This is so good.
I know.
Yeah, like this. See, like this Court Jester, Oscar, like all this stuff would blow any other comedy nowadays out of the water.
And it is surprising where the I don't even know, like it almost seems Shakespearean, like the comedy of errors where like 4 suitcases all getting mixed up. Like there's a joke there to be had, but that's not even like a crutch. It's almost like that's secondary to the hilarious story that ensues, because while there's still funny jokes to be had where the suitcases are getting mixed up, there's still like a really great story underneath where you actually kind of really want Ryan O'Neal's character to like get this stupid grant for his stupid rock collection. Like who cares? But like you kind of get invested by it at the end. You know, he's up against a total brown nose sleazebag, the freaking not Larry, what's his name?
Hugh, Ty member.
Hugh, yeah. I was gonna say
I am Hugh.
Stop saying that. Make him stop saying that.
It totally reminded me of the scene from Rush Hour 3 when he's like, you, me,
I am you.
I am me. He's like,
you are me. No, he is me and I am you.
Yes, exactly. A lot of that wordplay. Just such a goofy guy, you know. I remember him from I know he was in Frankenstein, but I don't remember. He played Inspector Kemp, I guess. So that might be the other one.
Did you recognize the guy?
Get this, guys. He's the voice of Triton. Did you know that from Little Mermaid? Ariel, that's him, dude. That's freaking
Howard.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
No, I think Hugh. You're saying
Hugh. Yeah. That's freaking Ariel in love. That's freaking him. I can't even picture
Mars.
it.
That's wild.
It's Mars, dude. That's really funny.
Dude, I had the biggest crush.
Who are you talking about, Jordan?
Watching this as a kid.
I was gonna ask you. Yeah, did you guys think Barbra Streisand was hot?
I thought she was.
As I watch it now, I'm like, oh, she's so annoying. But I'm like, but I like her character in this movie. But
yeah, dude, I thought she was a smoke show as a kid.
I'll say it. I think freaking Ryan O'Neal, beefcake, right? Handsome dude, freaking jacked. I know.
Yeah, when they rip off his shirt, I was
Yeah.
like, that was not the body I was expecting under that.
I know. So he plays such a nerd, and all of a sudden he's like, boom.
Yeah. I was like, why is he built like Captain America? What's going on?
Get out at the tub. I'm going to call the police if you're not out of here. He's like, who are they gonna arrest? The guy with his pants down, the woman in the tub. I don't like you here.
And then when he falls over, he's like, I think I broke a bone.
Yeah, I love that delayed reaction. You're like falls, he's like Hits the floor and then does the reaction.
No, I think it's broken.
I think I've broken many major bones.
Major bones. You're right. That is like a delayed. I totally know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So
So
funny.
good.
Oh my gosh, that was great. Oh man, that poor hotel room.
And what's with the tie thing? Is that like something that actually happens to people? I've never had a problem taking on and off ties. Like, I love that it's like Peter Sellers.
Well, if you don't know
Pink
how
Panther.
to, maybe it's.
To me, yeah, I don't know if it's speaking to anything, but I do love the comedic humor where he couldn't tie it himself. Remember?
Oh, good
He's
point.
like he went to Eunice and Eunice tied it for him. It kind of shows like how
he
helpless
like
he
goes
is
to grab it and she like slaps his hand away.
Yeah, he like tries to help adjust it, and she's like, no. And she's so controlling, right at the very end. But she's with Mr. Larrabee, and then she's like, "Okay, now Larrabee, we got to get to the thing." And she like loves doing that, and I'm like, perfect. I'm glad that Friedrich Larrabee likes that for his life, because that seems absolutely miserable. He's like,
I guess
we've been through a very traumatic experience together. He's like, "You're gonna save me, right? You're gonna keep me safe." Well, he's like, "They have a gun. They're going to shoot us. Don't shoot me. I'm part Italian."
Well, I guess it like fits perfectly though with his personality, just like nothing going right, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's what makes it so funny when he finally gets the tie off. It's after the hotel is destroyed.
Yeah.
He's in the elevator. He's going down or he's going up instead of down. Nothing's working. And then he touches the tie and it comes undone. And it's just like this fetching tie.
Well, and there's like layers of comedy throughout this film. Like, I absolutely love when she's like telling her story and then he's off to the side and she's like, this was the point of no return. And he's like, I think we've already passed that point.
Yes, there is the fourth wall break. He literally like sits back in his chair and he's like, help. It's so funny. It is so helpless. He just sits there, looks at the camera, he's like, help. And then he's just like, this is a nightmare. This isn't happening.
Yeah.
It's and he goes, Bannister, you have to admit, you're lucky. He goes, that she's not Eunice. She's like, Eunice Burns. It's like, yes, and we'll he keeps interrupting him every time you
Howard.
We had worked
on names.
It's something about names. Like it's stuck up in his throat. Anyway, it's so many. Yes.
She reminds me a lot of what's called Leo from Catch Me If You Can, just like so quick on your feet with lines and just like obviously it'll catch up to you, but just like being able to be so quippy with it that like people are just like, oh yeah.
And and back in the day,
such a skill.
They didn't have like Google to look people up and stuff. And it's just
when they look up, Judy Maxwell, they probably find, pictures of Satan. They'd be like, wow, this is the devil. They knew all along. Yeah, how would they know that? They would never know that.
Well, I mean, that one guy, the guy that flicks his hair, the villain,
Hugh.
He did find something out about her, remember? And then he was like gonna come forward and tell everybody, but everybody cuts each other off.
Yeah, he's outside the room and he hears Eunice is talking to Howard, and he's like, "This is the real Eunice Burns. This is a fake Eunice that he obviously hired or whatever just to get the grant. It was all a show."
Yeah.
So
it's
great.
It's got layers, Ty.
Like I said, first act all up until the hotel burns to the ground, right? Hilarious. Everyone gets
did we even get to Cameron? I feel like this is going to be a Good Burger episode, or all we do is just quote the entire film.
Just to quote the whole movie, dude. Yeah, it's fine with me.
I literally thought every time I hear the word illegal, Ty, I just go, it is illegal.
Dude. Grant, that's going down in infamy for me though. Grant mimicking Howard falling down this prop. He's like, I can't get over that, dude. Or even Hugh's like, he's like, Eunice. It's like a mustache twirling villain, dude. It's so great. It's like laugh to himself, Eunice.
Wow. Or his evil laugh as he's walking away after he goes, "Moochie boinchy boinch."
He's great, dude. Wow. So Barbra Streisand, was she hot? Was she not hot? Was hot. Cameron, think she had it going on? What do you guys think?
Absolutely.
Average.
I know. Now I'm like, oh well, like I guess no, I will be honest, Cameron. When I was younger, I did think she was hotter. Now I don't think she's as attractive. It's weird. I'm not saying like now.
Barbra Streisand now looks like a freaking
maybe it's a few scenes. Like I think I don't care. I actually think the hat was doing her favors. When she's wearing the hat, it looks good. but her hair down, not a fan.
Yeah, she rocks that
She
whatever
rocks
it's
that
called.
whatever hat that is. It's like a French beret.
This is like I mean, there's so much physical comedy. It's amazing that there's such a great balance. Like there's scenes of like very insanely fast, quick dialogue, and then it goes back to the physical comedy. Like I'm just thinking of that whole like the car getting closer and closer to the ladder, each car. And just,
That glass pane is one of the funniest gags like I've ever seen. Well, there's like 8 different car chase gags. Like one of them is this poor guy paving the cement on his he's just paving the cement, and then the car drives over it launches over entirely, doesn't mess it up.
That's an insane stunt.
The other 2 cars drive over completely, and he just throws his hat down. He's done. The pane of glass is like one of the funniest things. There's this giant ladder in the middle of the street, a big banner being hung, and these 2 guys are running with this pane of glass across the street,
swinging it like Tarzan.
And these guys, and then they finally get to safety on the side of the sidewalk, and all the cars, the very last car is swerving, knocks the ladder. The guy ladder gets knocked out from under him. He holds onto the banister and swings like Tarzan, smashes into the glass pane. So funny. They're just holding it there for him. It is so funny.
And up that same street, there's that one car they're turning really hard and smashing into. And then the guy grabs
the poor van owner, and he runs outside to get in his car, and it just flops over. It's like smashed like a pancake.
I want my bike back. I'll give you a broken back.
I'll give you a broken back. Oh, you know what I love too? There's a great scene with the judge when he's like, look at this despicable miserly lot. And he's like, these are just the spectators. He's like, oh. And then it goes to like screaming, like, oh, it's great.
Well, I love how like he's talking so horribly about everybody. He's like, you know why I don't do any of those things? Lock them away forever? Because I care too much.
Because I have compassion.
Like compassion. I have too much compassion.
And you know the guy, what's his name? He's like, be quiet. Be quiet. You too. Me too. It reminds me so much of like the original Dwight. You know, he's like loves being this like deputy, the bailiff or whatever his name is. He's working with the judge. I don't know why. Just bald head, mustache. It's too funny.
Yeah, you know what it's like when I make these decisions? He's like, yeah, I do. No, you don't.
No, you don't. You have any idea? Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh, just like Michael Scott, like always talking smack down to Dwight. I love it.
Yeah, undermining him. It's hilarious. I also love the Eunice, dude. Just Eunice as a character, and like some of the lines she says are just beautiful. Like she's like, "I'm not looking for romance, Howard." He's like, "Oh," she's like, "No, I'm looking for something more important than that, something stronger." As the years go by, romance fades, and
something else replaces it. Senality, no trust.
That's what I meant.
That's what I meant.
That's it.
Yeah, and then he says, "I love what she's like." And I'm a woman, and I don't see you as a woman.
Eunice, I don't think of you as a woman. I think of you as Eunice.
She's a woman. Yes, that's true too.
But Howard,
the same way that I am a woman. Well, I don't think of you as a woman, Eunice. I think of you as Eunice.
I think of you as Eunice.
But I am a woman, Howard. Oh, I know that.
Oh, I know that. I even love it too, where she's like, it's like, oh, you're gonna like her when you go back to her, and she's all wrinkled and flabby. He's like, we all get old, wrinkled, and flabby. But the end of next week. Great.
Still though, Ty, the quote that you brought up, I still think is probably one of the best in the show. Is they tried to molest me. That's unbelievable.
The double take, dude. Oh my god.
I know, looking at her.
That's unbelievable.
Oh my word, it was great. Believe all women. Yeah, maybe that joke doesn't get in a comedy these days. But
it's so funny.
So good.
Yeah, or she's like, my heart is beating out of my chest. Feel it. It's like, gentlemen, feel this.
Yes, it is. It's pounding in there. It's absolutely pounding.
Sit down.
Okay, one of those guys, Ty, did you recognize him? He's from Family Vacation.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, I recognize him.
Oh,
under the impact of spinal reverberation.
Yeah, I loved. Okay, that was an amazing joke too, because it was like, she's like, oh yes, you guys have heard of it, right? And it's like, oh, I don't want to sound dumb, like, and so yes, I love it. Like, oh yeah, I read about that somewhere.
I think I read about that somewhere. Yeah.
I love that joke. It's so good. And there's just stuff like that. I mean, it's seriously one after another. And it's like, if you're laughing too hard, you miss the next joke. It's
yes.
So good.
Yeah. Great visual gags. Like I even like the introduction to, the first time you see Howard, he's just standing there like a dope. He looks like what it reminded me of, Josh Hader in Napoleon Dynamite. The first time you see him and he's just standing there like a dope. He's just like head tilted sideways and he just lets out like this long exasperated sigh. He's just like I was in tears in the theater. And this movie, you just see Howard Bannister just standing there. He just looks like just expressionless. He's just like empty-headed, just standing there with his suitcase with rocks. It's just so funny to me. It's just such a great character.
Well, all the character dynamic is so good. Like Eunice and his dynamic. It just
and also, dude, Fritz and Harry, like what you guys were talking about as well. I love the quote where he's just like, "What if she wakes up and sees me?" He's like, "You will tell her you are smitten with her and that you have followed her all night, and you will make passionate love to her." He's like, "Can I just kill her?"
I like at the end too, where Fritz is at the airport and he's got like a mustache. He's like, one ticket to where's he going? I don't know. It's like to Panama,
so
to Costa Rica, and then he just like grabs his ticket. I don't know why. He's like, it's just so funny.
No, yeah, so but that quote reminds me of Count of Monte Cristo when he's like, why can't I just go bang, bang, bang back before week's end?
We go kill him, Zatara. We go and find him, bang, bang, bang. Come back, relax, spend our money.
That's funny. I actually thought of It's a Wonderful Life when she's downstairs and she's like, "He's making violent love to me, mother."
Yeah, it does have a.
Really?
What is with that? The parade scene. Like, I mean, okay, so this whole like bike chase, right? They're all chasing her. They like do this elaborate thing, and then they crash into a clothing store or costumes. They wear like these giant leopard minks and a rice hat and like the most inconspicuous outfits. And only to immediately get spotted and then start running again. I don't know why.
Maybe they just thought people would
ridiculous costumes.
People wouldn't take a second look at them because they're like just some weirdos and like they stand out, but they're not who they're looking for.
Jordan's like, oh no, I think that just has to be like a joke from that's just like them being like it's funny because they're inconspicuous.
Yeah,
and they're being so overt it's covert.
Yeah.
But it's not like they stick out anyway. They get spotted like immediately. Like the move where they pull up on the car trailer or whatever with all the different the Beatles, what do you call it, the Volkswagens. That was like clever.
Yeah,
very convenient. And
exactly.
Back up. But like every time there's so many funny things too where the like for example another gag when they're driving, the cement is pouring out of the back of the truck or whatever, and like two of the cars go under it, which is fine, and then the last guy got a convertible and just jumps on him. He's like, hey, look out. That's the first time he gets an inkling. Like the guy that's driving this car is absolutely insane.
Dude, you can tell just by that
he's holding onto the car and he's like, oh my gosh. Like
you can tell just by that stunt of when they like that car actually like jumps at least 5 or 6 feet off the ground. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yes, there's the hilarious, that windy, curvy street in San Francisco. It's really popular.
Then
there's like literally a staircase. Yeah, like like I don't know if that's the university or park or something, and they're just like smashing down the stairs. It's great. Oh my gosh, so funny.
And dude, what's his name? Dr. Larrabee is so annoying in my opinion, like the entire time until he like tears up
Howard Bannister.
Until he tears up Hugh's check, and he's like, and then he was like, "This is despicable." He's like, "Hugh, you're a bad loser. You're a plagiarist, and you're nasty, and I don't like you. And I want you to go away." Right before he goes,
I knew it sounded so familiar. I'm sorry. He just tears up the check. It's so comedic how it ends too. Like the at the very end, everything just gets wrapped up neatly. He's like, I put it a $20,000 reward for those that find my jewels. And then she runs down the receipt of all the damages. It's like, now the hotel room and the repairs cost us $3,200. And then she just goes through all the list. One thing I noticed is the glass pane cost $1,800. Like, I mean, I guess for glass, that seems really expensive because like the hotel room damages alone were like 1,800, like just as much as that glass
window got
was.
smashed in.
Yeah, I know, got smashed. I'm just saying, like it's a short, it's like a sheet of glass. Like I don't know. I'm just saying, I paid $80 to get an entire glass table done. So,
dude, I'm
surprised it cost that much.
When the dude crashes into the room after Barbra Streisand grabs his leg.
yes. She gets knocked off the balcony,
like...
and she's like in a towel. You think she's going to die. She's like literally looks down at the street, and she's like holding on. And then the guy has the documents or whatever. And he's like out on the windowsill, and then a hand goes and grabs his foot while he's on the ledge. He's just like, yeah,
just dives through
the room. And then so everyone is interested in putting out the fire. Like, he doesn't just run through the room.
Yeah.
He like is assisting in putting out the fire.
I love that.
It's so funny too, because it's when he first falls in through the window, like Howard's like, "What's happening?" He like lifts up the thing. He sees guys like, "Oh," and he like puts the cover back over it. And, like keeps going on with what he was doing. It was so funny.
Oh, or yeah, and even the other guy, he comes in and he's like, he just sees another suitcase, assumes it's his, and he leaves with it. He doesn't bother to look at it or anything. So is he like Edward Snowden? Is that basically who he is? And then the guy that's looking
in the courtroom, he's like, the people deserve to know.
Yeah, I'm like,
so
dude, that's
like,
freaking Edward Snowden, dude.
Yeah.
Just saying, it's the original Edward Snowden, man. He's got the government secrets, top secret underwear, man. So, so funny.
The last quote I had on here, because you pretty much covered all of them, was when after all the dinner party stuff goes on, Howard goes back to Eunice's room, and she like opens the door, and she's like, "I do not want your apologies, Howard. I think it's too late for that." And he's like, "All right, Eunice, no apologies." She's like, "Have you no heart?"
You should be on your hands and knees crawling back to apologize. I love when he finally gets Barbra Streisand out of the room, and he like closes the door on her, and then he just starts to take off his jacket, and then he realizes he's not in his room.
Yeah.
That's right, he's still in the dining hall or whatever. Yeah.
And it's like he can't go back out because she's out there. It's just so great.
I also like the guy that's running the drugstore, the corner drugstore, where he's like, "Hey, the radio's $7.50," or he's like, yeah, it's like it'll be like $80. He's like,
it's on sale.
He's like, "I'll get the without buffering. How much is it without buffering or whatever?" He's like, "No, it's the radio clock." He's like, "I don't want a radio." It's like, "Your wife wants it." "I don't have a wife." He's like, "Look, buddy," and the guy's like totally like trying to peddle, and he's like, "Hey, what about the aspirin?"
He's totally trying to push it. It's on sale. Take the radio.
Take the radio. Hell, come on, mister. It's a great deal. Take the radio. Oh my gosh.
I don't have a wife.
It's so stressful too, because like the whole time he's in the store and he's like, "Hey, I don't want people falling down in my store." He's like, "We're on our honeymoon." He's like, "What's the problem with it?" I don't know why that drugstore owner is just
he's so a character. Perfect. They're all characters.
He is a character. Yes. I don't want people falling down in my store. What's going on back there? He fell down. I don't want people falling down in my store. Okay. Oh my gosh. And again, the shaking your hands,
yeah,
like,
please let
I
go.
forgot what I came in here for again. Headache. He's like, "Oh yes. Goodbye." Puts the rock up in front of the it's so funny.
We gotta stop meeting like this.
You gotta stop me. Yes, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
You must have mistaken.
You can't just squeeze the juice out of me and then leave.
Yes.
I'll make a piece of meat.
That's great. And I also like there was the great scene where she hears the address and sends Eunice. Poor Eunice gets to the other address, and the cab driver is like, "Here it is. This is the address." And she's like, "You wouldn't mind waiting for me?" He goes, "No." Oh, he goes,
no, he's like, "You're not going to have me wait for you,
"Yes,
right?"
I would. I didn't think so."
I didn't think so.
I didn't think so.
He just drives off. And then she goes up like this dilapidated staircase, gets to the house. She's like, "Hey," and she like knocks on the door. And then there's a guy like holding a hammer. He's like ready to bash this guy's brains in.
The
and
rock,
just like all stare, because he has the suitcase of rocks or whatever. She's like, "What are you doing with Howard's rocks?"
Dude, well, and how she says Howard is so good. Howard.
Oh, yes, that
and
whole
just, like,
scene.
Her like slight
"Tell them
voice,
who I am."
Yeah, her like slight voice crack in
Never
every
saw her
yell.
before in my life.
It's like the screeching of her heels.
She's like a witch boiling in oil. So great. Yeah, she was great. The only thing I remember her from was the Clue movie. She was Mrs. White.
Flames.
She like kills the maid.
Yeah.
And she's like, because she had an affair with her husband or something. She's like, and the rage inside of me was like, and the flames were coming out of my eyes. Flames. Oh, it's so funny. Yeah, she plays like that same character. She has such an iconic voice. That was so funny. Like that shrill, the wig, the fact that she's wearing a wig also. There's a scene where she's like reading a book, like The Sensuous Woman or something like that, and then she's like, I have I have no idea what she's doing or what she's doing with that book or reading it. Anyway, that makes me laugh every time. Like the most prudish person, and then carries a wig because that's fake. Oh.
I love when he walks in and he's like, tells her she's beautiful. She's like, well, I'm not ready.
I'm not dressed.
I know it doesn't take the compliment.
Oh. Well, I don't see how it could possibly have ended up in a room unless it crawled in under the floor. Well, see, that's the problem, madam. He's a aficionado of snakes. It's like, oh, no, not to worry, madam. Just go in the bathroom. Snakes hate water. They hate tile.
Hate tile.
So stupid. You can come out? No. Anyway, everyone in this movie is an absolute character. There's so many great scenes too where he's like, oh, and don't forget your dinner. And he's like, right, I'll get it later. I don't know why. And he goes, and he's like looking under the door, and he like comes out in the hall, and he's like, I just forgot my key. And he goes, well, have you tried it? Maybe the door's open. No, I'm sure it's locked. And then the door falls open. His club's leaning against the door, and he's like, every single one of their exchanges were so funny. And then there's like a scene where he comes back out, and the other guy's laying on the floor. He like stands up straight, like a deer headlights. They just stare at each other, and then they just go apart again. And it's so great.
Yeah, the comedy is so funny, just in that hallway of like them coming out the door.
So many scenes with the hallway.
The elevator dings, and they're like. And they like go into a random room.
Yes, the elevator dings, and they're like, oh, and they like dart into a room. Like, it is so funny. Last question. Can you guys track the suitcases? I can for like half the movie, and then after a while, I'm like, I can't anymore.
I just lose it after a while.
I always lose it after a while. Obviously, you put them all in the one thing, but like before, I'm like, oh, I definitely know he's gonna have this suitcase. And like I could follow it for the most part.
It's the same with Oscar. Like the first like a couple exchanges, I'm like, oh, I know where everything is, and then I'm just like, I'm so lost. I don't know.
It's musical chairs. It's too much. I can't track it.
Well, the best is that he opens up his suitcase to find his rocks, and it's the diamonds, and then he opens up the top secret.
It's like, there's been a mistake.
I think there's been a mistake.
My favorite is that it says top secret on the top of the papers. I love that.
Right at the top. Yeah,
it's so good. It's like seeing a vial and it says poison on the vial. It's like
The other nitpick it dates the movie, the fact that Edward Snowden can get into the airport with a pair of bolt cutters. He's like he has the government documents and it's handcuffed to him, and then he like gets up out of a booth and these bolt cutters fall to the ground. He's like collects them back up and chases after him. It was so funny, dude. Oh my gosh. So many great visual gags, dude. Oh my word. Gosh, this movie was so much fun to talk about.
It's amazing too, because I watched some of these old like Bill Murray comedies, and there's like one or two funny jokes in the whole movie. And
that's all I was needing in a comedy. They're like, oh, there's 3 funny jokes in there. The whole movie builds up to one punchline. You're like,
but this is like every 2 seconds. I'm like, oh man, I'm just getting hit with like one after another.
Yes, it's hard to watch because it's hard to breathe, dude.
Yes, it's quotable. It's funny. The story's great. Characters are great. Yes, very iconic.
Yeah.
And I looked at it like involved with the screenplay. They have 4 people accredited, so I can understand, or at least 3. Sorry, and I can imagine, trying to make all this work. It's so great because like the judge, that like you could do a whole TV series about that judge. Dude. That judge character is so unbelievably good. Like at end of his rope. Judge, and it's so delicious that his daughter happens to be Judy.
I'm gonna get to the bottom of this, even if it's
like, how about you?
Life.
You're not saying anything, and then she's like,
minute now.
"Hi, Daddy," and he's like, "Oh, Judy." Oh, it's so great. Love it. You find out it's his daughter, the one that's been in trouble, going to all the universities. She caused this whole mess. It's so great. You can't keep her out of trouble. I thought that was great. Such a funny tie-in right there. But gosh. Great
100% do recommend. You have to watch, and
all ages.
Yeah, super easy, family friendly. Like you can recommend to anyone.
Yes.
Yeah, and it holds up. Like, oh my gosh, it's amazing that it seems timeless. They didn't use anything that felt like super old school. I didn't feel like.
Yeah, it is, yeah, like you said, timeless, because the jokes, there's not like pop culture references that you wouldn't understand. Like in the 70s, I don't even know what they were joking about then, but like a window pane in a car chase, that just never gets old. Like it is such a silly gag. And anyway, yeah, it's a car's driving off. I think we're gonna make it. I don't think we can make it. Just smashing. Like he's so good, smashing directly into the
Eunice, I
bay.
can't, or Judy, I can't see. Here you go. Oh gosh, I can see.
Or when she takes off his glasses, now I really can't see. Oh gosh, I can see.
Yeah, this is one of those movies. Kind of like when I was talking with Jordan with what's the one where the people die in supernatural ways?
What?
With the Final Destination.
Final
Yeah.
Destination. Yeah.
And this is one of those movies where there's been multiple times where I've rewound while watching to like see a gag again. Like the one I've rewound almost every single time is the one where the guy stands up cutting through the like when they're going into the bay and he stands up and he's like,
I can't see.
I rewatched that way too many times. I just think just him also flying into the bay is like the most insane stunt ever.
But dude, to me, it's the sound effect of that fabric ripping. That's the feeling. It's like being cut with his neck. It doesn't make any sense.
Just like he looks like a lifeless like CGI like flying dude because he just oh my gosh, it's an insane stunt. He just like floats into the air as the car launches off. That car had to be going so fast. It's
yeah, and talk about amazing old school stunts. Like a lot of them, and it's fun. You can tell like they show the back of their heads on the bike when they're going down the actual hill because you don't want like to get hurt.
And that's got to be so dangerous because they're going fast.
Yeah.
And there's some that like the painful stunts, obviously, like the guy on the table, but also like the government agent documents guy. He like falls over on like an art piece, like the metal ring thing. That looks so painful. Like every stunt in here looked really painful. He even like jumps off the second story of that balcony
onto the guy
on the awning or whatever it's called. He like leaps onto him. They cut it, but he like jumps down. There's nothing down there. He just like leaps off the freaking whatever you call it, off the railing on the banister, jumps off second story. It's like Geronimo, it just jumps down on him. It's crazy.
Insane.
Yeah, so great. Gosh, it's gonna be so fun.
You were upside down. I know.
I forgot about
Mr. Laramie, it's he's like, it's
I don't
Mr.
drink.
Privilege, it's a Laramie to meet you.
Oh,
he's like, I don't drink. Yeah, I'm sure you don't. He's got two
glasses.
I even love it too, where he finally gets rid of one and then he turns around and someone puts a drink in his hand again. It's so funny. Because they did something like that in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, where Tobey Maguire is so down on his luck, where everyone's so
tries
mean
to grab stuff.
He tries to grab like a cookie and someone takes it, and then he finally gets a cup and it's completely empty. It's just like the reverse of that. I absolutely love that. It is so funny. Great visual gags, great funny humor. Can Barbra Streisand sing, guys? I can't tell.
It even reminds me a little bit of like scenes of Jim Carrey. Like a lot of parts remind me of what's it called, Ace Ventura. Like I just think of the one where he's chewing on the food and then he puts it back on the tray.
I don't remember that. Is that
he's chewing it? It's like spicy. And he's like.
Remember when he says, "Is there something in my teeth?" Ty? Like right before that.
Oh wait, I remember Ace Ventura, but does he do that in this movie or
no? Just of that same gag of like.
Oh, okay, yeah. Food tray, yes.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like
half the gags in. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say they did it in Big as well. Remember when he was like trying the food and he's like spitting it out, or he's like trying to roll corn.
It's like the visual gags too, like in the house, there's like Mr. Larrabee's house and his home. He has like all this contemporary art or whatever, and like they're using it to fight. Like the lampshade, they use it to fight. They use like the little plant wire wish thing. they use the art pieces. Like, anyway, I just think it's funny. Like, he's obviously making a mockery of all that stuff too. Like, it's just all silly, and I don't know, it's just really well done. Like the hallway, the gun, the staircase that's see-through. He's like falling down the stairs, hitting every step on the way down. It's just like very funny.
Well,
like,
and that giant painting that comes swinging down and hits that guy in the face, it looks so painful. I'm assuming he, like didn't actually get hit, but it just that sound. I was like, oh,
it was back in the 70s. They're like, to make the stunt look convincing, you're gonna have to take one for the team and take a concussion. Sorry. Oh, it's great. But anyway. 4 bags, igneous rocks, underwear, top secret documents, and
diamonds,
the
gems,
the gems, thieves, liars, murder. So weird.
They're just like staring at her.
That's great. It's so fun. So many quotable movies. Yeah, every character in this movie is so unbelievable. Well, folks, and that's it. We did it. Talked all about this movie. We had a blast doing it. So everybody, we end every movie podcast by sharing movies that we've seen lately, movies that we're looking forward to. Cameron, start us off. What's your movie list, man?
Just started rewatching the Harry Potter series with Kelsey, because she's never seen 7 Part 2. What?
So you're like, let's just naturally start all the way over so we can get all the way to the end. And
so we can get to 7 Part 1 and then you not want to finish. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you'll be, my wife has actually listened to all the books again. And she's like on 6 and she's like, I'm getting a little bit of fatigue. It's like, you listen to like all the books up into 6 and now you're just like, oh,
that's hilarious.
A little tired.
But yeah, so I watched Harry Potter 2, which the older I get, also, it's kind of one of my least favorite, not gonna lie, of the Harry Potters.
Which one, too?
The second one, yeah. I don't know. I just think it doesn't hold up great. Some of the CGI.
Mandrake or Mandragora. What are you talking about, Cameron? It's got so many great lines in there.
And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I watched a documentary called Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised. It's essentially talking about like a Harlem cultural festival. I watched for my film class. It was really good. I mean, I just really like kind of that type of music. So I really enjoyed it. And it's just kind of talking about like the same time of Woodstock. It was after Martin Luther King was assassinated, and kind of just like the cultural surrounding that, which I thought was really good. And then I watched like a Ghibli short animation, and then I watched The Cave of the Yellow Dog, which is
what did you think of it?
Yeah, what did you think? That's all you want to say? You saw it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's 12 minutes. It's really good. It's essentially talking about like a childhood crush and how like they later meet later in life, kind of in school, and you see how they kind of have like a moment of realization, like we've gone down different paths or whatever, and like kind of, it reminds me almost of La La Land, of like what could have been and stuff like that. But
dude, Studio Ghibli is the best. Just saying.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's Studio Ghibli, but it's called Ghibli's.
Oh,
so. But it is like, I think, a Korean short.
Oh, okay.
So
animated.
Yeah, it's animated. It's 12 minutes long. It's 2000. It was made in 2000. And then I watched The Cave of the Yellow Dog, which is super slow. It reminds me a lot kind of Ghost Story. It's a German. It's Mongolian, but I don't know. Maybe it's like the German director or something. But crazy. It just shows essentially like the shift of like the Mongolian family. Also for my film class, and it's just essentially showing like this family and like their nomadic life, and then like a dog that ends up. It's like invited.
I'm really glad I didn't do film class, Cameron. It sounds really boring. All the movies making you watch. Aren't they making you watch What's Up, Doc, dude?
Yeah, for real. I'm like,
what a waste.
Doc is a masterpiece, but I mean, it's pretty cool. But and then I also watched Harry Potter: Prisoner of Azkaban, which is so good. Oh, dude, every what's called, when I rewatch, I just realize how perfect of a character Ron is. I think all of his just reactions and how scared he is of everything is just so funny.
And Cameron, the director of that, Alfonso Cuarón, you need to see Children of Men. He's such a great director.
Great movie.
Yeah. He did the 3rd movie of Harry Potter.
Oh, really? Okay.
Dude, just watch the first 10 minutes of it and try to stop watching, dude. It's crazy how it was filmed.
What's it called?
Children of Men. It's got Clive Owen in it.
Okay.
And it's got Julianne Moore, right? Or is that the right? No, is it Susan Sarandon?
Michael Caine's don't forget Michael Caine.
Julianne Moore, sorry. Michael Caine's in it, dude.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like a movie. I'm trying to think. It
feels like The Last of Us.
28 Days Later, I think.
Oh,
or 28 days.
Or The Last of Us, yeah.
And then have any of you guys watched that? That's on my watch. I've heard great things about it.
No, I'm waiting for it to all come out. Then I'm gonna binge watch it.
And then I can do my free trial of HBO Max. Because if I get it out before, then I'll have to do 2 emails. That's a little too much work.
Yeah.
And then I finished Lethal Weapon, the first one, finally.
I just watched that with Tatiana recently too.
Really?
We just all admit that is like the most ill-timed saxophone music. I do.
Okay, some of it hasn't aged well.
They're approaching the house.
It reminds me a lot
saxophone comes. I'm like, what is going on?
It reminds me a lot of The Nice Guys, where I think The Nice Guys would have been one of my favorite films of all time, just with less nudity. I think just there's a lot, like a little too much random, where I'm just like, what the fudge?
Yeah, I forgot about that. The opening scene, I'm like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
Don't you understand, guys? Movies used to be to satiate all the perverts, so we owe it to Hollywood to satiating all the perverts out there, so they didn't, I don't know, ransack and pillage the cities. I don't know. Why are all these movies filled with like gratuitous nudity? I don't understand.
The more young Mel Gibson movies I watch, the more I think that he's not actually acting, and that's just how he is as a human being.
Yes, Cameron, I've been saying this ever since our Mad Max
conspiracy theory.
That was mine. I'm like, yes, that was the episode we were talking about. I'm like, why did anyone think he was ever insane? Like, he's always been crazy.
He's unhinged, especially in Lethal Weapon. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when he hooks the guy to him and then jumps off the building. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Dude, you're making me want to watch it again. Dude.
Those are the best scenes right there. Oh, no, he's acting unhinged.
He's so
crazy. Am I crazy?
Yeah. He probably did real cocaine in that scene.
He's dude, like, oh yeah. And in the scene when the guy's got the gun to him, he's like, shoot him! I'm like, okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was a real bullet in that gun.
That's right. Real. And then watched Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I was like impressed because growing up, that one's actually was one of my least favorites, but I think it's great. And I think the Cedric's father, that's what I was talking about with one of my coworkers. I think it's interesting.
Don't bring it up. We're talking about this cry scene every single time. Like,
no, we were just talking about with one of my coworkers of how it's interesting. And a lot of times in film, it doesn't make us like, we're not sad seeing someone die. We're sad seeing someone mourn death, which I think is really interesting. And how like that's the reason why.
And how much of a bait and switch that was, where everyone's like, they're back, they won the tournament, and it's like so horrific. Where it's like, not only did he not, well, who cares about the goblet anymore? And by the way, can we just address the fact that Dumbledore says eternal glory to he who wins the House Cup? It's never fetching mentioned again in the entire Harry Potter wins the goblet tournament. And so did Cedric at the same time, and no survived eternal glory,
and survived
eternal glory.
Another fight with Voldemort, again. And he comes back, and everyone's like, "Oh, you
yes." Now I'm willing to forgive it and say it's marred by the death of Cedric Diggory, but it's like they always knew that these tournaments were dangerous, or were they never under real danger? Because
that's why
every tournament they're like, they literally put other contestants' loved ones under the ocean for them to save, and they're like, if you didn't save them, they would have died, or they were like, they would have been fine. I remember that. In the book or in the movie, they mentioned it. They're like, they were going to be fine. But it's like, so is it all fake or is it real? Like, the only real danger happens when Voldemort shows up at the end and he's just like, I'm not part of the tournament, but welcome to my nightmare. And he's like, kills Cedric.
Well, it's just Hogwarts in general, I feel like, is the most dangerous school of all time.
Okay, let's address it. The first Harry Potter, he goes, every house is welcome, and explore the halls except the third
corridor on the left, and the third
for whoever wishes to not suffer the most painful death. You're like, what the fuck did he just say? What did Dumbledore just say? He said, if you go to the door on the third floor corridor, you will suffer the most painful death. What is that doing in the school?
Yeah,
not even like, Not even public school has that, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah. And then I also just watched like a short. I have no tears, I must cry. Oh, I have no tears and I must cry. Luis
That was Cameron
Fernando
watching
Puente.
Schindler's List, right?
We'll never live that down, dude.
Yeah, I know. He came into my class or whatever, and he's like trying to become a film director, and he graduated from like BYU. Pretty cool. And then I'm just looking forward to watching The Chosen. I'm pretty sure the last 2 episodes are now able to be watched.
Oh, really?
Penultimate is
the second to last.
Not the finale. The finale comes out next week.
The finale is later, yeah.
But the first
Are
part
you
of the
sure?
finale.
I'm pretty sure it came out Sunday. And
No,
then
Ryan told me. Yeah, he's like, yep, one of the episodes is out.
But I'm pretty sure this past Tuesday, the second one came out. No, or is it this next Tuesday?
Oh, Tuesday. I thought it was Sundays.
Well, that's what it said. It said Sunday, and then I think on Tuesday it said that the next one was going to come out. But maybe I could be wrong.
I don't know.
And then
Maybe.
so I'm looking forward to that, and then also finishing the Order of the Phoenix tonight.
And then you'll get to 7 part 1, and you'll be like, let's take a break. And we can
Order
watch
of
the Harry
Phoenix
Potter
is my
series.
favorite. Is that the
And
5th
then-
one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That
And
one's
then
great.
also I'm halfway or like an hour into emergency declaration. I had to go to sleep because I was dying because I started at like 12:30. But it's so, dude.
Did you watch the
freaking
first line,
psycho-
Cameron? The first line of the movie, dude? Or the first
What was it?
interaction where he's like, can you tell me how many people are on this flight? He's like, I can't tell you. He goes, by the way, don't smile. It makes you look like a whore.
Dude, I was thinking about texting in the group chat just because I thought that was so funny. I was like,
Dude.
was this movie made for me? It's just so out of pocket, just out of nowhere. Don't smile. It makes you look like a whore. I'm like, what did this? Because this lady wouldn't literally tell you information that would like aid a terrorist. Like, she's psycho. She's like doing her job and trying to like not aid a terrorist, and he's like, "Don't smile, it makes you look like a whore." Oh, wow. Oh, tell us how you really feel.
Dude, that needs to be like a tagline, dude, somewhere.
So
Bumper sticker.
I know. I was just like,
Or a movie poster of that movie. Emergency
Yeah.
declaration.
and then I got recommended The White Lotus. Someone told me that
Season 2?
just in general, someone was telling me, because I was talking to somebody that really loved Black Mirror, and they said that it's very different than Black Mirror, but they said like the social commentary.
Yeah,
and
dude.
it's,
Like it's a
very
completely
similar.
opposite color. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I just thought it was like seemed kind of interesting. Also, I mean, Last of Us, I've heard great things, and then
I
Creed
do want to
3.
watch that.
Creed 3 looks just like something interesting. I'm just kind of expecting like a Rocky movie of like not the best movie I've ever seen in my life, but like entertaining. And I'm like, I'm gonna go work out for 10 hours now. So yeah, and that's everything.
Awesome. Grant, how about you, man? What have you been watching?
Just been rewatching some episodes of Chosen with family. It's been crazy, like how rewatchable it is, because most TV shows I feel like aren't that rewatchable, at least for me. But it's just been super fun watching them, and like, oh, they're so powerful and good.
Jesus is the best actor, best character of all time. Like the way he portrays him is insane.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you can, with the pressure that comes with portraying a character like that, and then to just knock it out of the park is insane.
I know.
Well, and finally, like this, I'm sorry, it happens every time. Like they're just the high and mighty, and like he's just like, we're in a fallen world, and I am a perfect man, and I'll lead you there. But like, there's hard truths you have to hear. There's times where he has to speak harshly, and I'm like, yeah, that's perfect. It literally is, because I can't stand the. I don't know what I'm doing, but you know what I'm talking about, because
Passion of the Christ, is that what you're imitating?
Mel Gibson's eyelids are taped open. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Anyway, it's just the it's like SpongeBob. Patrick says, "Do you mean she puts on airs?" That's what I feel like with people that portray the savior. They typically, like, I don't know, get like weird.
I agree.
They seem very.
It doesn't seem relatable.
It also doesn't fit in the world, because there's like people dying or something, and then like this angel comes in and saves them. And I just like that Christ was a human being on earth with a very important task and an important mission. And anyway.
Well, and I watched
he's
like
the best
an
portrayal
hour-long
of the savior.
interview with the director and like the guy who plays Christ, and like it's just super cool, like the way that he approaches acting as Christ. Like he just talks a lot about like, he's like, I can never fulfill that role. So he's like, so all I do is kind of just like something about like letting go of like trying to do everything perfect and just kind of let kind of God work through him.
And then he gets struck by lightning. I just figured I wouldn't do it perfectly, and he's like, shame on you. Tim Caviezel got struck by lightning. He was hanging up on the cross when they made Passion of the Christ, Cameron. I think he got struck like twice or something. Maybe it was just once. I was like, incredibly like rare that is.
Are you looking to see anything else, Grant?
Just looking forward, or like I started rewatching Into the Spider-Verse. Excited for the second one.
Yeah.
Also want to watch Last of Us, but
I also added Death Note and Invincible to my watch list. I just want to rewatch both of them so bad.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking about them. I'm like, dude, they're just perfect.
Season 2.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. And
for sure.
Just really quick, I saw Missing in the theater. My wife and I saw it.
Was that the sequel to Searching?
I mean, technically it's a sequel, like
different story.
It's not it's not really connected at all.
I figured it was.
Was it just as good or not even close?
I didn't think so. Because it was, I mean, my wife and I were actually laughing at some parts because they like really
especially when she got kidnapped and you're just like
no, it kind of had like M. Night Shyamalan twists where it's like twist, 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 twist. And I was like, at a certain point, I started laughing because I was like, this has gotten crazy. And there's just a lot of moments where it like zooms in and the music's like, da, da, and it's like, you're like, all right, like you're telling me how to feel. Like, give me a second and breathe. And by the end, I have a better ending. I have a better ending for the movie, and I'll tell you my ending idea is when you guys watch it, so I don't spoil it. But
I don't care if you spoil that one. I ain't gonna go see it.
Oh, do you think you'll see it, Cameron?
Probably not.
Okay, so the ending, of course, it's a cliche. Like
we found her parents.
Yeah, she saves the day or whatever, and that's
she solves a human trafficking ring. Good for her. She's like 14, right?
In searching, it was like a really good actor trying to find his daughter, and this one it was about the daughter trying to find, and she's not really
her parents.
Yeah,
it's like Home Alone, except like Kevin McAllister's like, I made my family disappear. She's like, my family's
well, anyways, so she like her mom's just been shot and she's trapped in a room with her mom locked in, and the villain's outside like dead. And I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Like she's gonna have to eat her mom to stay alive. But then she, instead they just call the police, and then it's happily ever after.
So Jordan's upset that there was no cannibalism. Your idea is like, oh, he feasted on his
if there's not screen time of the cannibalism too, I don't want it.
I was seriously chanting. I'm like, eat her mom, stay alive.
I can imagine everyone else in the theater. They're like crying at this emotional scene, and you're like, what? She doesn't even eat her mother to sustain herself? What kind of bullcrap is this?
It would have been such a great ending.
El Oro, or what is it? The hole? The pit?
Cube?
Oh, the platform?
Oh, platform, yeah. Yeah, or Cube. All right, Ty, what have you seen lately?
It's true. There was a lot of cannibalism in that. What did I see? I finally watched season 10 of the British Baking Show. I just fizzled out. I watched like 7 episodes and I didn't see the finalists.
We got burnt out.
Finally saw it. I just needed a break. I guess you just watch so many pastries that I don't know. I don't even know. Good heavens, what they taste like, or what I couldn't even fantasize what they smell like, and it's just weird to watch all these different pastries, and it's like,
and knowing that it's English people cooking, like it's probably not nearly as sweet as. Like,
it probably tastes disgusting. It tastes like
it probably tastes nasty.
Disgusting. Dude, I guarantee it's disgusting. And then like when they make something probably tastes really delicious and sweet, they're like, oh, gross, too sweet. And you're like, it probably tastes like an Oreo cookie.
And I know what you're looking forward to, Ty. I just bought the
menu. I can't wait to see it. Yes, you bought the menu. I'm going to watch that tonight and tomorrow night when I watch it again with my wife.
Oh, if you guys like The Ultimate Beastmaster, we started Physical 100. It's a Korean.
Yeah, I started that. It's kind of like the real life Squid Games, but it kind of gets a little repetitive. I just kind of skip to the end. Okay. I mean, to be fair, like I thought it was very interesting and I liked the premise, but I feel like it could use some American editing. And that sounds mean of me to say because I like Squid Game. So whoever edited that. 100 contestants, mind you, and they're like, let's give every one of them a backstory, and you're like, oh my gosh, okay. Anyway, I'm like, y'all look the same anyway, so who cares? I can't tell them apart.
You got
Oh,
30
my.
seconds. Do you want to wrap it up, or do you want to say
This has been the
something?
Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. Thank you, everybody,
This
for
has been
tuning
the
in.
racist podcast.
Yeah, hey, this has been the racist podcast. Everybody, Futro Hidden Movie Gems at gmail.com. Leave us an email. Leave us a like. I'm overcoming my racism. I love you all so much. What's up, Doc? I don't know. You guys have anything else to say?
You're the top.
That's unbelievable.